Another episode of Doug's Doings. Welcome back. Jeremy nicknamed this one the Nakey Shanky. It's a survival knife from my friend Kaeli. I hope she enjoys it. This is a good one. A little anti-fire pre-cleanup. My goal here was to give this what I'm calling a flat belly grind. So flat high grind on one section for good slicing, and then to keep a little bit of thicker belly, good for chopping and batoning for good bushcraft work. I found this cutoff melted into my boot the next morning. Kind of like tap shoes. After quenching in oil here, I tempered the blade in an oven at 300 degrees for 2 hours. And that seemed to work pretty good. I think I feel pretty good about the heat treat and how the blade's holding up. I wanted the end to have like a pry bar or some kind of utilitarian tip on it so that it could be used to smash or pry open stuff, so you're not risking damaging the tip of the blade, but you got something built into the handle that's designed for taking that abuse. I started with these gray and green G10 micarta, but I messed up one of the holes and got it off centered, so I ended up ruining it. At the same time, it just didn't quite feel like the right color. I had this other set of scales that were kind of a tan gray color, and I used a new shoulder countersink bit, because I'm trying to use these Chicago screws. And that worked okay, and I got through the process and even like roughed out the handle and bolting it up, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I started over one more time with a new set. I wanted to use these Chicago screws or Chicago rivets because I think they were going to add some strength and hold, but they were kind of cumbersome to work with, to get the holes drilled and lined up, and to go all the way through and then mark the other one and then hold that with a pin. But if the pin's not deep enough, then you got to go back and drill it again, and it was just kind of this awkward process, and I wasn't a real fan of it. And then later you'll see as I'm trying to glue it up, it was just awkward and made a mess, and so I don't know if I'm ever really going to use those again. I left this next clip regular speed just so you can see kind of what it looks like to try to get these rivets in there and lined up right and screwed together. It was kind of awkward, and man, I should have known that if it was this hard without any epoxy involved, once I got epoxy involved, it was going to be a mess. So, lesson learned. Shout out to my good friend Kamana Barton for recording with me all these songs, sometimes on the beach, sometimes just on the couch, but it was fun. And finally, we get to the actual color we're going to use. These scales are beautiful, and I'm so glad that I had a couple mess ups that brought me to this point, because I think this turned out even better with having these different scales. Plus it gave me practice with the rivets, and so I did a better job. So lessons learned, and I think it turned out amazing. I had to drill both sides with the step bit to get it all the way through, so I wouldn't drill a shoulder on the wrong side. And so that just kind of made the process, again, kind of cumbersome. But I got it figured out, and so we were able to do it, and it turned out really nice. Once again, test fitting these Corby rivets and really realizing that in order to get it to go through and hold, I need the countersink to be deeper on the other side. And I had to do that actually a couple of times because they're deep enough for this, but then when I put them together with the liners, the countersink needed to go deeper once again. Here I'm cutting out and fitting a red liner to go underneath them between the handle scales and the full tang, just to give them a little pop. I think it turned out really nice. I like using liners. Another thing I learned that would have made it easier would be to go ahead and put the liners in before I did any profiling on the handle scales. That way I can just do it all together at the same time. It worked out okay on this. It just was one extra step that I could have done at the same time as doing the handle scales. Always learning. I get better and better. I enjoy the process. Once again, I needed a deeper countersink in order to get this rivet to go through and actually hold on the other side. I used the handle scales that I was going to discard in order to make a handle for the flint steel fire starter. I clamped them together with the liners, drilled a hole halfway in one and halfway in the other, so it create like a little pocket for the fire starter to go into with a pin and get epoxied in place. Marked where the pin is going to be, then used a Dremel tool with the carbide cutter to cut little slots so that the pin had a spot to sit. Not too bad doing it on this Micarta G10, but the fiber board for the spacer was a little bit tricky, but we got it and glued it in there, and I think it turned out really nice. This will go in the sheath with the knife. Once I had all the pieces ready to go, I was ready to start epoxying things together. Got the blade ready, covered in tape. You'll see as I start to get into this that it just kind of turns into a sloppy mess, fighting with these Corby rivets, trying to get them to line up through the holes and trying to get the liner in place. And after this, I think I'll go back to using just regular pins or hollow tubes for all my pins, just to make it easier process.
Said, son, you don't need to live here. You can marry Lord honey ho. Your papa's not your papa, but your papa don't know. Boy, my dear boy, you know more healer. No more 5 cents, you know more house. You go all up on the hill, boy. You know more 5 cents, you know more house. You go all up on the hill, boy.
My arm kept getting in front of the camera, so I had to just cut these little clips without showing much detail. As I started shaping this handle and seeing the lines starting to pop, Just loved how these contrasting colors came out and how it's starting to take shape and look just amazing. I love the shape, the swirl, the red and black together. So happy with how this is turning out. A piece of elastic lanyard works great to put on the fire starter to help hold it in the sheath. Tie just a little loop with a water knot, and then it can stretch down over the end, holding it in place inside the sheath. Don't want to lose a fire starter when you're out in the wilderness doing bushcraft. Okay, here's the progress on the knife handle. Looking good, still needs final polish and sanding. Right now I'm kind of just feeling all around it, checking for sharp edges, anything that would give you a hot spot if you're under heavy use. I can feel a little lip there and a little lip there, so I'm going to kind of smooth those off and make sure those are rounded over so that there's nothing that's going to give you a hot spot on your hand when you're trying to use this knife. I want the handle to be indexing really well so that you can hold it properly, but no hot spots. Sometimes it's just easier to work on it at work. I decided I wanted to make a Kydex sheath for this one, so I dug out my Kydex stuff. It's been about 8 years since I've messed around with making anything holster or sheath out of Kydex. And so here I'm blocking out and getting things ready. I need to create some space for the screw heads inside the sheath. So I'm putting a block onto the blade to create some space there. And then I'll do some forming, heat it up and put it in the press and mold it. I want to use this Blade Tech Molly lock to go on the outside of the holster to be able to mount it onto molly webbing on a backpack or on a belt line or something. Original design, I was going to put the fire still on the edge side of the sheath, but after some thought I decided to put it on the spine side. Here's the first press. I forgot to show the heat process, but here's opening it up and you can see how the sheath looks. The molding process looks good. I got a good mold and good outline. However, I realized that when I was trying to slide things around inside, I pushed the knife in too deep and it came out the other side. I was able to reheat with my electric griddle, flatten out the Kydex again and remold it. And here we go, round 2, much better. The blocking at an angle coming out from the guard of the knife is so that I can get a spacer in there to adjust the tension on the sheath. And here you can see the blocking for the molly plate attachment. Let's now go to the finishing process. I drilled a couple holes so that I could put a couple rivets in to hold the two halves of the sheath together while I cut out the outline all at the same time on the bandsaw. I finger molded just a little bit of tension onto the fire rod. Here you can see the tensioning adjustment screw. I had to re-drill the hole because it blocked the guard from coming out. In hindsight, I would have either made the fire starter stick out a little bit farther from the sheath or carved out a little relief in the side of the sheath for it to slide in easier. I had to disassemble the whole sheath in order to get the holes for the mounting bracket for this Molly lock from Blade Tech. Again, just kind of forward and backwards learning process of trying to get things drilled in the right order and make the assembly process go easier. I ended up Loctiting all of the screws just to make sure everything would stay together without problems. I wanted to etch my mark into the blade, so I'm using some etch here to etch the blade. And I did several rounds of it, 2 different kinds, and it got a nice color, but when I peeled the tape off, it bled around the edges underneath, and so the outline was pretty fuzzy. So I buffed it off with some sandpaper and went back to the way I'm really familiar with. I know how to use a drill. I decided to do a little bit of testing. So here I'm chopping on this kiln dried lumber. It's working pretty good. I had a little nick in the blade already from when I got carrot dust coming off of the sanding belt, so I didn't really put an edge on it until after that. I polished that nick out, but that nick was there before I even started chopping. So I chopped that section, then grabbed it and did it again because I wanted to do paper cut after the chopping. So without touching the blade, I chopped another bit and then grabbed paper, and I was pretty happy with that result. Joking with my team, they decided a tomato slice was in order. It cut pretty good. And of course, it helped me with my lunch. I'm really happy with the way the life turned out. I love it, and I almost don't want to give it away, but I got to do it. She's going to love it.
You made this?
All of it.
No
Except
way.
for this clip on the back clip.
That's awesome.
Okay.
This is bad. This is exceeding my expectations.
Okay, awesome.
Honestly. So, oh, I love it. And the paracord and everything.